Hi. So, from my experience with pumping, I've observed that it's so easy to give up sometimes. Maybe because of low milk production, the baby here, work is demanding, family, and all those other things that come with it. But before you give up, especially if you're still interested in pumping or if you're just starting, you're a new mother and you want to pump, kindly listen to these tips. I hope these tips are going to help you improve your pumping experience. So, my name is Bridget, and welcome to my spot where we talk everything motherhood, parenting, and all around lifestyle. So, let us dive in. Uh, Number one, ensure that you have the right breast pump, a high quality breast pump. I would advise if even if you get an electric breast pump or a manual breast pump, depending on what you prefer, I wouldn't, I use an electric breast pump, but if you want a manual breast pump, it's all okay. But ensure that you get the right one, comfortable one that fits you well, one with a good, breast shield. Um, the type that I use is a dual. They are two, so I have another like this. So why I would advise you to get a dual breast pump is because as you are pumping out breast milk, it stimulates also the other breast. So instead of wasting the other milk, it pumps both of them at the same time. Number two, ensure that you are always hydrated. It's very important that you stay hydrated. Do you know what I mean? Drink lots and lots of water. I know sometimes motherhood can get, and you find that throughout the day you've not taken enough water, you've not hydrated enough. So you could have a program like on when to take water or other drinks, and also ensure that you feed on nutritious fruits and nutritious foods, foods that boost breast milk production. Then another thing, ensure that you have a very comfortable spot for pumping breast milk. So from experience, I've noticed that if you do not get a very comfortable space, for example, you are hearing your baby cry and it can disturb you. So ensure that at least you hand the child to someone and then enjoy, pumping breast milk. Um, Maybe when they are sleeping or when they're with someone, because if they're around you, especially now like children that crawl, they would be pulling this and that. It could get very frustrating. In the process, also get some music, play some music, listen to some music or play some sounds that mimic your baby, those other things. But ensure that you're in a very comfortable spot. For those that are not home and you want to continue with pumping, especially when you've resumed with work or when you resume with work, kindly ensure that you still have a comfortable spot, because that can affect you mentally and also your milk production. Because if you're in a space where it's not private enough for you to do what you have to do, maybe you don't even have where to store your breast milk, it could disturb you. Then another thing, create a pumping routine. I would advise that at least you do 2 to 3 hours, in a day, but do 2 to 3 hours. Some people advise that if you could get, if you could do 10 minutes, 10, then pause for 10, then do 10, then pause for 10 other minutes, that could also work. But from what I would do like 20 minutes straight. So you can choose what works for you, but choose a routine. But the number one thing I would advise on that, ensure that at least every early morning when you wake up, you pump. Then usually when your baby is done feeding, when you're done feeding your baby, make sure that you pump breast milk. Don't let it go to waste. Then another thing that will be helpful for you is adjust your pump settings depending on the kind of pump that you have. Now, the one that I use, I have shared in another video. I'm going to link it at the end of this video. I'm going to link another video whereby I show you how I use my breast pump. So depending on the kind or type of breast pump that you have, you could adjust your settings. Some can even mimic how your baby, takes their latches, like how they, breastfeed. You could do that and mimic them. So depending on the brand that you have, the type that you have, you could do that, because because that will help you, like, as you are pumping, it's more like you are you are there with your baby, or it's your baby doing whatever they are doing, breastfeeding or what. Then another thing, always do a warm compress of your breast. Why is this so important? In most cases, especially when you've just woken up, your breasts tend to be full. Okay, depending on how much milk production you have. So for those that really have, high breast milk production, even those that don't really have much but they have milk production, always ensure that at least you do a warm bath or a warm compress before you pump. It will help release, maybe if your breasts are engorged or something, but it will release. Let me give you an example. You see like ice and you need it to melt, and then you put it maybe in warm water and then it melts. I'm looking for a good example, but that's what the warm compression does. Just a warm cloth, and then tap on your breast area before you express milk. That would really be helpful to you. And then when you are done pumping, always ensure that you store clean utensils, because you will need to clean them, and then you keep them for another session of pumping. And also, depending on the kind of pump that you have, look at mine. With mine, I can add in another kind of bottle, you see. So just in case one of the bottles is dirty, you could put in another bottle and express. Then if you're doing all well with the pumping, please make sure that if you are to store your milk after pumping, store it well. Please do not waste this milk. I have shared a video on storage, on how to store breast milk. I have a video. I have a video on what I wish I knew before freezing breast milk, because usually after pumping breast milk, if you're not going to serve it to the baby there and then, if you're not going to keep it at room temperature, which is advisable, you keep it for 4 hours. The other thing that you have to do is to freeze it. Whether you keep it in the door of the fridge, whether you keep it in the fridge or the freezer or the deep freezer, depending on where you want to store it, you need to know like how to keep it. If you need to have the storage packs or storage tins or cups that will help you. Otherwise, I hope what I've shared is helpful, and if you find it helpful, please give it a thumbs up, like, comment. I see you in another video. I love you and God bless you. Bye.